Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and thanks for joining us today. We have some exciting news for those that haven't been able to get out down to the Project Ignite. Had some really good news from Microsoft last week, and it was all around this excitement of project. And for those that have been in the industry, like myself, for over 2 decades, it was really good to hear some positive, refreshing news that's coming down. So you can hear the excitement in my voice from other folks that have been in the industry. Really excited about this and wanted to share some of this with you today. We're going to have time at the end to ask some questions. You can have our contact information and as well as your local Microsoft representative. So as we go through this, just let us know. There's a chat pane for those that have not used Zoom out there. Go ahead and use the Q&A tab to ask us questions, and we'll be fielding those. We have a couple of our colleagues on today that can answer some of those questions in real time, as well as this is being recorded. So if you are listening to this in a recorded session, today is October. It's a beautiful fall day up here in New England. Some of this data and information may have changed if you're watching this 2, 3, 4 months from October 2018. But as today, we got 4 or 5 things we want to share with you. We're going to be able to demo something that's actually out today, and you can go in there and take a look at that, and also the futures. So what is coming down the pipe very soon that we're having. So in our interactive world, as we know it today, a lot has changed and a lot is going to change. So what we're going to do is we're going to increase the movement of Microsoft projects. So every day you're going to be hearing new and different things that are going to be happening throughout the Microsoft architecture, but also the user experience. And that's a big thing today. So when we talk about the new vision and really sharing Satya's vision here, that's going to be number 1. And also getting into the modern workplace home, which is new, and the roadmap. So first off, who are we and who is behind the voice here? My name is Jacques. I'm very excited to be here with you today. We are PPM Works. We're a gold certified partner of Microsoft's go-to partner here. We're going to be with Microsoft in a couple of weeks out at the partner conference, and we just finished a nice PPM summit in Boston. We do project implementations, we do training, also process work, and as our friends over at Microsoft like to say, we're one of those partners that dares to listen and really takes your feedback. And you know what? There may be a solution, tool, or process, but we're going to make sure we start small and gain that speed before we do this big bang approach like some of those outfits out there, really making sure that it works. So I'm happy to be here. Definitely want you to make sure that you link in with us, link in with me. Your network's only as strong as you make it. So a takeaway from this, also, if you're looking for PDUs, those are credits for PMI, make sure that you reach out to us at info@ppmworks.com. We'll make sure we give you that info code. All right. Well, we already talked a little bit about us. Well, let's get into the vision of Microsoft. Well, we didn't have the pleasure of being on stage, or if you didn't have the pleasure of being on stage and seeing Satya get up here and really get into it, this is his information. So what he was doing, let me just see if I can minimize this somehow. There we are. Microsoft from day one, about 4 years when Satya jumped in here and has jumped up the stock for any of us that are on those ever since. He really had this vision to increase productivity from the start. And one of Satya's favorite word is really to empower the users. So last week, Microsoft shared their brand new vision, if you will, and the direction for all of their PPM tools. And what they're going to call is a new chapter within Microsoft Project. And it aligns very much with Satya's statement here. The goal to push and reinvent, productivity, to empower every person, and what we in the PPM community say, not just every person, but every team that's out there and every organization on the planet to do more and really to achieve more. And this is the thought is really to support everyone that's involved with work management across the board. So this is where we throw out those terms. Hey, did you go on and update your project here? Did you go to your team site? It really doesn't matter where we're interacting. And if you get one thing from today, it's really the vision is to do work where you want to do work and allow executives to pull information where they need to pull from. So the she's and he's that are keep asking us to do these reports, really allow them the opportunity to pull wherever they're going to go for it. Just don't ask me as the user to do anything different than what I'm accustomed to. And if I do, at least it's got to save me time. So as we start talking about this, and I like to cook and our kids do too, we do some baking each week, and that's really a time for me to hear what's going on in my kids' lives, and that's a quality time. But this sense of a recipe for success, and some of these could be some buzzwords, but they're really true and they hold. So that visibility, alignment, and execution. By taking these three, really encapsulates that productivity of our team. And as you can see in that picture that we got from Microsoft here, is whether it's a formal project that's being managed or maybe self-managed or non-formal, the traditional, hey, you need to run this effort and you're not really a project manager, you might be an engineer, you might be a staff member, you need to manage it, you need to run it. So it's these accidental project managers, as we like to call in the business, really bringing this in. And as we get these requests that come out there and we're dealing with tasks and issues and all these fun items that us project managers like, we still need to manage the daily work and the execution of this with priorities and managing people's resources and activities. So it's really aligning that strategy with the overall visibility to make sure that we're dead on target. And that's what the organization is taking on in a whole. And while this is changing and the speed to market of these projects are coming through, is really the alignment that Microsoft is doing with the organization. And when we take a look at the innovation, and I just met with a client yesterday at PPM Summit, and they said, here at our organization, and it's a very large manufacturing, US manufacturing, that reached out from the CEO down, and she said to all her employees, and it's a huge organization, on your goals and for your incentives this year, we need to see that you're innovating. Take something that you're doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis and innovate. Challenge yourself to do it faster, do it smarter, or something. And this program manager did exactly that. She said, okay, I'm going to take this not only because I want to get paid and get my full bonus, but let's take a look at what I'm currently doing with the processes. And I happen to be using Excel for maybe some resource management. So she stretched herself. She said, what else is out there? And we're going to see a couple of those tools today, but just on Office 365, what else is out there? And she challenged herself to use Flow and use some of these other tool sets that are out there, Power Apps, to really grow her business and take that spaghetti diagram that we all have for our process and put it into a formal, defined place that folks can go in there and templatize. So everything that we do, this sense of that matters to our organization and really drives that. So being able to innovate and align not only formally managed and executing projects, but being able to do that on a consistent basis and drive that innovation. That's really the goal, to improve here, right? The productivity of everybody. And I think the fifth bullet there, encourage reuse, should be a little stronger, but absolutely. Everything we do, we don't want to go out there and have to redo something. I think in our everyday life, there at your desk that you're sitting, maybe you have the pleasure of working from home, but however you're doing it, think about how you could save yourself 15, 10 minutes a day. Add that over the course of a week, add that over a course of a year, and you're really taking almost 40 hours of our week. Or 40 hours of our year, an entire week we could spend with our families on vacation doing something else other than this repetitive rework. So put it in terms of qualitative, and it makes a lot of sense. So what is this thought of modern work management. And if you've been hearing some of this through some other organizations or even your own, it's really challenging you to do things faster, quicker, and more efficient. We've heard this all along. But the strategies that Microsoft is sort of attuning to now is that investment and really to be intelligent when we do these investments. And as we start to look through some of these things, the first thing are these trends that we're recognizing from Microsoft. And it's whether we're influenced, okay, through the global media or through our different circles of industry, really those recent investments that you're having at your organization hold true here with Project and other Microsoft work management tools like Planner and Teams and all these other things. So the goal of these investments is really to help your companies implement something a little bit more modern and strategies that are going to allow them to do that. Centralize project and portfolio investments, really to translate strategy into quantifiable results. It's the first one, is to adapting to a modern workplace. Okay, here at our organization, about 7 to 8 months ago, we took a shift, a fundamental shift, and said, let's reduce emails by using some other technology like Teams. And we did that. And we can actually go on to the Office 365 admin and take a look at some of those. And we reduced, it's okay, but we reduced over 35%. Now, hopefully we can reduce even more, but that's a challenge that we took upon ourselves. Enabling teams and individuals to be productive, we talked about that. And this global sense, how many times do we have, even if it's domestic, we're working on a team, a group, and we have an email that floats around, and then we have to go and grab that email. So let's embetter ourselves, but also use these tools. And you know what? That thought to be innovative and fearlessly innovative, to stretch ourselves. And you know what? It might not be the number one way to use that tool set, but as you start growing, you'll find out and you'll find that. So encouraging that innovative approach and centralization. So where does that get to with the announcements that happened here over the time frame? Well, if we talk about our tenants and we think about those folks that have started way back with Project that was purchased in 1984 and went through Peace Central all the way through that 2002 and 2003 server architecture, here is where we're starting to build up. And we know we hear the cloud innovation, if you will, and the push to be on the cloud. We wanted to align some of these announcements with today what you have at your organization. So you're going to hear these, Microsoft PPM, that's really the smart top level strategy. And you have that right now with Project Online, okay? And we're going to see some new features that are coming out there. And then if you go down through the PMO and being able to flexibly react, not only, hey, who's doing what work when, but also reporting and having the confidence and ease to report either on an IT level, programmatic level, or throughout your organization. The ePMO is really that top level investment, and then getting into our PMOs, the stakeholders, everybody who's responsible for the company, both going up and down the chain here. And we're going to see a demonstration of that first release of Project Home, which is the first piece of the new announcement. As we start going through and working collaboratively with teams, there's this sense of now we can have a project through Project in VSTS, Virtual Studio, Team Services, Dynamics for those folks that are out there, and using different platforms. So I'm not too familiar with what project I have. All I need to know is where to go and work on all of those projects across those three things we named. As a user, I don't need to know it. All I need to know is I have one place to go and I can see all of my projects, all of my tasks across all of Microsoft's project work, meaning Dynamics, Project, and Visual Studio. And then lastly, it's not going away. We need to collaborate. So the richness and some of those new features that are happening with Planner, but also Teams, some folks haven't even scratched the surface with Teams. Other organizations, and you may be one of them that are out there, that are really embracing Teams and running with it and saying, hey, I'm going to put this out in Teams. I'm going to get collaborative. I might also have external users that get in there and start to help us out. So that's really trying to tick and tie the vision to the pillar of what we know today of our organization, and really that top-down PMO level, or EPMO level, all the way down to the worker bee level, and how these new discussions and new releases are going to tick and tie. So I really like this slide that Microsoft provided for us. As we get into modern workplace, and really if there's one thing again that you take away from this today, is that teams, the folks that are doing the work, let them do it however they want. Don't bother them. Don't do this change management. Don't derail them from what they're used to doing. Now, granted, if there are ways to improve, to make it efficient, to show them the light, as we say, absolutely. Let's take those opportunities. However, we need to get the executives, the she's, the he's, exactly what they need. And that's what we need to do. Show them the results by either doing and getting things more productive, making that product quicker, showing the intangibles or tangibles, the dollar amounts, but also the reporting. How can I see? How flexible are we with, hey, that's really cool to see that I have year-over-year savings, but what if we tied the benefits into the savings? How can I see that? Well, with Power BI, you can simply ask those questions and a report will be generated to you. All right, so let's start getting into a couple of the areas. Project Home was an announcement a few months ago. It was saying, hey, it's going to be out in the August timeframe, and August came, and for those of you that were on the early adopter, you got to see it right away. For those of you that sort of don't know about this or haven't seen it, it's out there. You can use it today. What is Project Home? Well, it's a place where you can go, again, the landing place for all future work, but for us to manage flexible and work intuitively across these different investment pillars that Microsoft is doing. So they're bringing in, okay, Microsoft Project, which we know and we love, but they're also bringing in Dynamics. They're bringing in VSTS. So all these different channels, and think about your different organization, the developers that are out there working on projects and tasks as well, bringing those in, bringing all these disparate areas, tool-centric areas into one landing place. And that's what Project Home is going to do. So it's, no matter where it's being managed, keeping that in one general area. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and switch gears here and open up one of a Project Home site. So I know that a few questions were asked, and we were able to answer some of those. The new releases, what is available now, what is available in the future. So as of Project Home, that is the only one that we're talking about today that is being released on, we're October 4th, 2018. In a few months, you're going to see some of these other things. And there's also a roadmap. So what was really encouraging here was the fact that Microsoft is releasing these new items and telling you about them, but they also have a road mapping tool, and they're going to show you the light. So if you're sitting out there and saying, okay, so I'm on Project Online, how does this affect me? It doesn't, right? It's giving you more tools, and they're actually going to give you a tool that you can migrate some of your data up into this new service that we're going to talk about in just a few moments. All right, so if this is the first time I logged in, I could say, it says hello to me, it can wink at me and smile and do all these great cool things. But if I just want to go off and create a new project, I can do that. I come in here, I create my new project. Now today, you can see that I can create a new project in Project Online. What's coming down the pipe would be those other areas. Planner, visual VSTS, okay, that we have out there, and pulling all these. But also what I can able to see is across, in the future, I'll be able to see across maybe different tenants that I have out there. So whether it's dev or test or prod, be able to see all my information right across from here. I can tag these quite easily. I can actually come in here and remove them from my list, okay, if there's some data that I didn't want to see or do. But again, this real sense of really quick and easy. And it's the feel, the look, and whether I'm on my mobile device using this, it's really quite cool. And click, boom, where am I? Right from the project homepage, I come into my my instance, and I'm able to drill right into my project, see my status, get into all the nitty-gritty that we have, and really the details around the communication of everything that we're doing. But it's this new launching pad that's out there right now that we can hook into projects today. And in the near future, you're going to see your planner plans here. You're going to see potentially your epics, your storyboards, everything that we're talking about in these other tool sets. Now Agile's coming to life in Microsoft Project. We know we can do it in Microsoft Project Professional. If you haven't seen that and you're curious, jump onto one of our webcasts that's coming on here. It talks about all the bimodal and agile discussions that are out there. So this is sort of that new and the look and feel. And how did I get here? You're going to say, oh, you know, how did I get here? When I go to my project URL, I'm getting something of this homepage. That's absolutely correct. You can still get there. The way to get to this is through the waffle today, is coming up here and selecting our project. Once you do that, you're going to land in this new area and you can go off. Now, you might say, well, change management at my organization. I'm not sure I want folks coming into this without us doing some discussion, but that's really where you're coming in here and doing our ignore right here, this link right here up to PWA, or what we call Project Web App, would take us right back into our Project Web App that we're all love and we're familiar with. So that's Microsoft Project, the new home. It's that collaborative screen that we're going to have for all of our areas to launch and see Microsoft projects, whether they're in Planner, Project, or Virtual Studio, Team Service. All right, so on to the next. Let me just quickly check our Q&A here before we jump into the next area. Okay, and our colleagues have gone on and answered all of those questions. We mentioned Planner, and Planner is a real cool tool, and it will be good. So with Planner, the new features that are here, we already talked about that. Common types of projects. Well, wouldn't it be cool if you could create a new project from a task template? So, hey, I want all these projects in Planner to follow the same roles and so follow the same rules. Well, it can go ahead and do that. And you know, that's pretty cool. We've been asking for that. Planner has been one of those tools that has been growing the fastest across the tool set, with the exception, I'd say, of Power BI, which is just incredible with the strides it's taking. So the internal stakeholders is already there, and we've talked about that, but actually going off and doing external stakeholders. So like Teams today, you can go out and say, hey, I'm going to collaborate with a vendor. I'm going to collaborate with some other project office that's out there that's not in my organization, that doesn't have the same .com email that I do. How can I pull those folks in there? So that's great. Think about that. And then lastly, you know, just making some big strides across the platform, across Windows itself. So that Windows Universal app, giving a new grid, a feel, a look, a timeline views, and integrating with the Teams planner, the Teams bot that's out there as well. So making sure you can leverage all of that. Now today you can do that manually. You can set some of this up, but in the future, that's going to be almost out of the box functionality of Teams, of Planner, with all the goodies that you get with Teams. The roadmap that we talked about, this isn't just a roadmap we're talking about today about what's new and coming out. You can say, great, I see in 2018, they're going to light some things up. In 2019, they're going to light other things up. The roadmap that they're talking about is a view within the tool set, and it's going to give you that cross-functional. We always say we're big picture kind of people here at PPM Works. We like to start at the top and say, hey, what is this going to do for our organization? Or you have a particular issue or or some challenge that we're trying to alleviate. Well, let's start with that challenge, but let's look a little broader. How does that affect everybody else that's out there? So taking a look there. Again, it doesn't matter if you're using the DevOps, which again was VSTS, when I'm using that today, because another announcement that happened at Ignite was that Azure DevOps, okay, is that new, the new name and actually the new cool tool that's out there that it's going to replace that VSTS there. In future releases, again, support through Planner and Jira and some of these other services that are out there. Again, not only Satya, but Microsoft's envision here to grab all of our partners and grab all of our competitors and say, great, you're making something that's cool and you're using it, keep it. Let's have the platform discussion here with Microsoft. As long as we can go out and use their cool tools and get the data and let you do what you need to do best, manage your projects, run your companies, then we're happy here at Microsoft. So here's a view at that. It's one that we've gotten from one of the blogs that are out there. And at the end, we're going to give you a link to our blog. And in that blog, there are a bunch of great links from Microsoft, from other partners that are out there that really have some visibility in here. And we happen to have a really good relationship with Microsoft, leveraging that gold partnership that I mentioned earlier, and work with both the marketing teams at a global level and the US, but also the product team and the engineers. So if you have a question and you're looking to get an answer, let us know. We got the people that can get you the answers, or if we don't, we're going to reach it right out there. So this is pretty cool. You can see that we have obviously some branding going on, but this drag and drop capability within our project set. So we can start to see that portfolio view, not only on just projects in the future, but all, again, what we just talked about, the Azure site, so DevOps, right? As well as our planner plans. That's kind of cool. All of your work connected in the tool of your choice, being able to view it across one tool set. The last two announcements is the project management service. So in the timeframes out there, we don't have them, but let's just say it's early, April of 2019, somewhere in that range. And again, it could be earlier or later. We're not sure. We're just guessing here. But that's the time we think, okay, that something's going to come out, is that we're going to get this new service. And the new service is going to look and it's going to feel different. Okay, it's going to be a web-based service. It's going to be built upon Dynamics. Okay, it's going to be very quick and easy for us to use. So why is this coming out? They've seen the trend. They're surfing the wave, if you will, of technology. And frankly, some of the other competitors are doing this. They have a new look. It's easy. It's simple. It's easy. It's easy for those newer folks to use, but also for us old curmudgeons out there that are still used to, old Microsoft project and doing all this, demand management planning. Great, we can still do that. We can still see it, but let's get into the new era and have something fresh, have something right-clickable, drag, drop, right? Make this interactive and really easy to use. And that's what the new project service is going to be doing when that's released. So it's going to be coming out. Stay tuned of when that's there. We don't have access to it. I can't demonstrate it right now. Still behind the scenes and working with Microsoft on that. But once we get the thumbs up to show you that, we'll be happy to go ahead and do a webcast with Microsoft. The other area is what is called the Common Data Service. So this is the modern project and look, okay, and taking all these functionalities and tool sets and capabilities and running it across this CDS is what it's called, or Common Data Service, for all apps. So think of this. Now we can extend the capability and the functionality of resource management, project management, portfolio visibility, and demand capture with cool tools like Power Apps and Flow. So it's that same commonality. Now we can do some really good solutioning across the entire tool set. It's there. It's going to be built on the same service. So you're going to say, well, how is that different than what we have today? Well, if we really want to think about it, the technology, and I'm not a super technologist anymore. I used to be, and I consider myself dangerous in that regard. But think of this, we used to talk the old OData, we used to talk SharePoint in that world, okay? There's just a little shift that's gonna be happening now to this new common data service, which for us geeks in the room, it's gonna make getting data, creating customizations or configurations so much easier with this new. So we're really, really, really excited for this. So what's next, right? Well, that Project Home is available today. You can go out there, go to your Office 365 gearbox, if you will, up top. Some affectionately call this the Microsoft waffle up there. Top left-hand corner, go and drop that down. Open up Project Home, play around with it, see what you got, and see what you can use it for. It's there and ready to be used. The first release to roadmap, again, early next year. I'm not too sure when that's going to be happening, but that's at least the words that we're allowed to say. That new project management service, literally going into that area, being able to feel and see the new GUI and actually play around with it, start managing demand, managing projects towards the first half of next year. So again, we don't have any clear dates, but we're really excited. And how time flies these days with everything that's going on, both with your organization and back at home, that's going to be here in no time. So we're really excited to have all those. And then all three of the Project Online, Pro, Premium subscriptions, it's great. So you might say, all right, I'm excited, I get it, but what's happening with our licensing? Same deal. If you have Project Online licenses today, you're going to have those same licenses and be available with all these new announcements. So that's what we're hearing. We're really excited for all this. I'm going to go ahead and open it up to some more questions as I go with, for me, if I'm taking my time and listening to this, if it's a recording or I've taken the time today on a beautiful Thursday afternoon for us, what am I going to get out of this? Well, make sure you get out there to our blogs, to our webinars that are out there. We have a bunch of webinars that are upcoming, so go ahead and make sure you sign up for that. Link in with us. For me particularly, there's an ask for me. Go ahead and link it today and make sure that we're staying on the same page. If you have any questions that pop up later on, challenge us. Send us a note at info@ppmworks.com and make sure that you sign up or get those PDUs for today. We spent a good half hour with you, so you get a half of a PDU today with that. And then we have different offers, and one of the ones that we're promoting today is a PPM workshop. So we can actually come on site or it can be remote, and our good buddies and gals over at Microsoft actually pay for us to do that. So there's no cost to you. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look and see if there are any questions on the new service, the mentions of the areas. I mentioned a blog. Yes, I did. Let's go ahead and pull up that blog and I can show you where we get most of that information. So there's a bunch of different blogs out there. One of the blogs that I typically use is ours, and from there we link you into a lot of great resources. So let me go ahead and pull up our blog. I'll show you that. And this topic that we talked about actually is one of our last blogs that we did. We updated it for today. So let me go ahead and share that really quickly. So if you go out to here to ppmworks.com blog, you're going to see our new release of our blog here, that new vision and Microsoft project. You click in there, you're going to get a bunch of things. You can see that we have our project home, our roadmap discussion, all this information that we're blogging on is there. Someone asked us about some upcoming webinars. Yes, and it sounds like you were at the PPM Summit yesterday, so thanks for joining us for that. But all of our upcoming events are out here on our events page, yes. And the one that you asked about was right down here, automating status reports. That's in November. So the November 1st timeframe. Sorry, I had a private chat there I just answered for an individual here. All right. Well, that's what we have today. Really excited about these new announcements, and it's really great to see that Microsoft's not only standing behind Satya and his quest for empowering individuals to go out there and better themselves with new technology. But if there's, again, one thing you take away is challenge yourself to invent, okay? And allow the executives to get the data that they need with not disrupting what our organization is doing today. Well, on behalf of Microsoft, on behalf of all of my colleagues here at PPM Works, I thank you for your time today. Good luck. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon or the morning that you have, and reach out to us. Let us know what you think about the new tools and when they're coming. And if you have any questions, again, reach out to us at info@ppmworks.com. If you want a copy of these slides, I do see some questions coming in there. We'll make sure you get a copy of these. But if you have anything else, reach out to us here at the info provided. Have a lovely day. Thanks very much. Bye now.